all the phone calls unmuted, but if it gets to be noisy, we'll switch over. So, but try to keep the ambient noise down as possible. It's better if we obviously can keep them muted. So if you have a question, you can just say so. So the topic of today's call is rolling out a new form for our end of the month report. And the inspiration for this new report really came from Jolisha, our new general manager at the Spring Hill Suites in Auburn Hills. I was sitting in her office working on this, doing her first one ever, and going through all the tips and tricks and dollar signs and dangling participles and all the things that we work on every month. And she said, well, she used to do this, but when she got it, it came all filled out with the numbers. So that got me thinking. So she inspired me, so thank you to her. So I rolled out a new form, and this hopefully will save you a lot of time. So let me show you how it works. So if you have questions, please let me know. But we'll be sending these out. There's two versions, obviously. There's a limited service and a full service version. But they're Excel format now instead of Word format. So we'll just look at the limited service version of it here. We'll start here at the top. You'll see at the bottom here there's 3 tabs. We'll look into that a little bit more. But if you can see all this data here, there's formulas and things in here. It's all locked, so you can't mess with it. So, but for example, start the month. You can edit this section here. And for example, for the month, you'll be able to click here, and you can put the month you're working on and the year here. But the cool thing is all this data you see here as far as all the revenue, the GOP, PTE&B, guest supplies, breakfast supplies, flex, all that sexiness is all will be preloaded. We're going to show you how to do that. But you'll never have to type in a number in there again. You'll never have to worry about not having a comma or worry about having a dollar sign or any of those things that we all struggle with. You'll be able to, the biggest portion you'll be filling out, just like we did before, will be this section. And you can just type, it's just one big cell. You can type in here, just like you were into a Word document. The same will go for key financial drivers. These will all pre-populate, so you don't have to put those numbers in. Again, you can go in here and type whatever you need to type as that goes, as you explain those. The same is true when it comes to, other items that you would normally fill out here. So it's the format's exactly the same as it was before. It's just in a different, now that we're using Excel. Unfortunately, I couldn't get this information to pre-populate. For example, we didn't have a report that I could get in Excel. But for example, if you were to put in, say you had 500 bar rooms, it automatically knows the percentage of, because it knows how many rooms you sold in the entire hotel for that month, so it knows that 500 is a percentage of that. So you would just have to populate these numbers, and it does all the math for you. So hopefully that's a huge time saver. I wish I could have figured out a way to make this populate, automatically, but it wasn't. It didn't work that way. But it does save you a ton of time, and also you can see if you put in the dollars, it'll automatically put in dollar signs. You don't have to worry about all that formatting issues. So the same information goes here, just like we did before. Again, pre-populate, you want to type this in, so we couldn't. This is the part where really you have to do your work, where you're putting in all the explanation of the section above. Market share, you'll see that all this information pre-populates automatically as well. So your star data will come in. So there's, again, no manual input on any of these numbers here. So you'll never have to adjust any of these numbers automatically. Again, market share overview is just what it's been in years, in the months past. Guest satisfaction is one area again that does require, because we couldn't get a report that came out that would have this in. I had to be able to export this in Excel format, and the challenge was in Hilton they don't export it the same way, and Marriott's don't, because Marriott, from a technology standpoint, is a step behind. And so anyway, unfortunately, we have to manually put this information in. But again, big time saver. The Revenate, obviously you can populate that. And your TripAdvisor ranking in the market, we're going to add that. So, for example, if you would put in here maybe 2 of 15 or whatever it is. We'll go there. Then you put in the explanation for guest service scores. Top 3 accounts. Again, the good news is you don't have to worry about formatting of the. I'll fix that. That should make $signs. I'll fix that before I send it out. So you put in your top 3 accounts, but it will. Unfortunately, it won't. There's no math that it'll do for you here other than it fixes the formatting. Target accounts, same kind of deal. Overview, we've talked about that. Comp set changes, so nothing big changes here. The biggest work that this new form is doing is really populating a lot of that statistical data at the top of the report. So any sort of potential guess. So all this is basically the same. So let me show you how you're going to populate this data up here. The trick is these tabs here. So that we're at P&L raw data and star raw data. So what this sheet here is doing is pulling from this information on these other pages, right? So, for example, and the way you do this, and if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask, but we're going to go into M3. I'm going to show you how to run this report. So we go into Acknowledge. If I go too fast, please let me know. Let me get Acknowledge open. I thought I had it open already.
Hey, Matt, you can have this one on YouTube?
Yep, it's being recorded, so I'll upload it here this afternoon.
All right, cool. Thank you.
If I can ever get Acknowledged open. Let me try to log back in. As with all technology, I am not immune to its struggles sometimes. I'm going to make it hard to show them if I can't get Acknowledged open. Yeah, if you can get Acknowledged, or maybe you can get Acknowledged on that screen. I don't know why I can't. And I can show your screen. Any questions so far while we're trying to get on to Acknowledge? Okay. Well, let me show you while we're working on getting Acknowledged. Let's look at the Star tab. So the Star tab is just basically the Star report. There's nothing. Oh, hold on. No. The Star tab is nothing more than just the Star report. Nothing there. So when you get your Star report, no, I'm working on Star report. So say you have your Star report, and then it comes to you, and you know which one we're using. All you got to do, let me grab a Star report, is you have one up. Doesn't matter. Here, can I show your screen? No, but let me show it on the meeting here. Find you. Come on. All right. Can I give it now? Now that I got it up on Rob's computer here. Watch this. That's funny. All right, so you would want to go into here, and you're going to run, for example, for select service hotels, limited service hotels, you'd want to run the net income operating statement limited service. For the full service hotels, obviously net income operating statement full service. then you would hit start. The most important thing is, for example, if you're running it for March, even obviously we're going to do April. When you click here, you want to select April back all the way to the beginning of the year, because if you don't do that, the year-to-date columns will only be the month of April, for example. If you select all of them going backwards like that, you will get your year-to-date is your year-to-date number. Hit next. Obviously, we always click yeses here, just out of force of habit. So we want to run this. So that's our normal P&L. So once this comes up, you want to go up here and hit export. The trick is you don't want to export into PDF. You need to go up here and change it to Excel. Okay? And just hit OK. So now that's exported in an Excel document, and that exports to, on your C drive, M3 reports, right here. So this is the document we just exported. It comes over in Excel format. So now you have all this data, right, in Excel. So the trick is, all you got to do is, in the upper left-hand corner, right here, where right between the 1 and the A is this area here. If you right-click on that and you hit copy, it will now copy the entire format there, right? So let me go back and show my screen now. Once you've copied that, you would go into here under the P&L Raw tab, and you go to that same section here and hit paste. That will then dump all that data into the spreadsheet and then pre-populate back to here. Does that make sense? That's all there is to it. But the trick is you have to make sure you use this upper right, because if you paste it over here, you paste it down here, or anywhere else, the cells won't know where to pull the right information from. So it's critical that you paste, here, and then it basically will write over this all over again with brand new data. And this sheet will then pull, the first page here will pull the appropriate revenue numbers. If you've done it wrong, this will all be gibberish here. And if that happens, it's no big deal. Just do it again and copy and paste it in the right place. No?
I wanted to just verify.
Yeah, right here.
Okay.
It's this little box right here that's not labeled. It is like it tells Excel it's the everything box. It's just A, or it's not just 1 or 2. It's all the cells, and it will bring everything across. And if you post it in here, that will then, for example, the way this spreadsheet's written is total revenue is, if you look at this formula, it equals P&L Raw tab B18, which means that this cell will equal on this tab, P&L Raw tab B18. So if I look back to B here, 18, it's pulling that number. So if you pasted it in the wrong place, B18 wouldn't have the right data in it. So that's why it's critical to post. That's the only trick to this. As long as you're copy and pasting that data, you won't have any trouble. So the same exact thing is true here, where on your star report, you just want to copy it so it looks exactly like this does, and you use that that first full week of the month running. And if you copy and paste it and it looks just like the example that I'll send out, it will pull that data back over here for the star data that populates down towards the bottom. Hopefully this is a huge time saver for you. So for example, even if you're doing your prelim work and you want to do this before you write your P&L and you just want to do it, you can copy and paste it and see where the numbers lie. I've actually included the Flex Flow calculator that I wrote for everybody. It's actually built into this, so it does it automatically now. So you don't actually have to use that other calculator because I just built it inside this spreadsheet. So hopefully you'll find this to be a useful tool and your ability to get this done quicker, because I really believe that it's my job to try to get things to make your job the most efficient. I'll briefly go over and look at the full service version of it. Which is here. We are just, as a preview, we are in the process of developing a third version of this, because as we develop hotels that have a beverage component and not a food component, because I mean we don't have a ton of real true full service hotels. For example, the Courtyard Milwaukee and DoubleTree Holland and Hilton Garden Inns and the Hilton Garden Inns are really truly full service hotels. And then we have truly select service hotels like Macomb and Jacksonville and Hampton Inn, Moline, and those are truly select service hotels. But then we have a growing segment in our company is kind of a blended version of that, where we have a bar component, which the first one we ever did was the Spring Hill Suites Grand Rapids, where it has a bar piece but not the full food side of it. And as we develop new residence inns and things like that, we're getting to have more and more of those lobby bar concepts. So we'll be putting out a new version of this in the probably the next coming month, where it will take out the food port. So it'll be only appropriate for the information you're putting in. For example, in Katrina in Grand Rapids, there's no reason. Right now she's doing a full service version because she has the bar, but there really is no beverage portion of it. I mean, no food portion of it. So we're going to be a scaled down blended version. So that you'll be looking forward to that coming soon. But so the difference on the full service model. There's the biggest difference is at the top here. There's just a spot for covers. So you have to manually put that in. Same information here. There is just additional section that goes down to discuss food and beverage, where we talk about food costs, food payroll. All this will populate as well for our full service hotels. The only difference is when you're running it, you run the P&L that shows it's a full service model of the P&L, which is the example here. Where it populates all that data. But the idea is that it will bring over the data exactly the same way as it is in the select service model. There's just a little bit more data in here. Does anybody have any questions associated with that? Hopefully you're finding that beneficial. Anybody awake?
Yep.
Christy's awake.
Yep.
Yeah.
Christy says thank you. Well, good. Hopefully you find it. And if you have questions, obviously we want to do this time coming up. So we'll have this out probably today or tomorrow, so we can do it for the April review. Oh, yeah, we can go over the STAR again. Exactly the same in STAR. Where let me pull up a STAR report. So if you look at a weekly STAR, let's pull up land fee here, and we go to this tab here. Same process. You click in this little white box up here, and you hit copy. Then we go over to our review, and you go to STAR data, STAR raw, meaning just raw data. And you go up here again to the same spot here. Hit paste. See, it populates all this information for her automatically here, and then that will coincide. If I've done it right, see all the data here has been updated. This is actually Lampy's, Stacy's Hotel's data. It automatically pre-populated. See how easy that was? So that just those 3 or 4 clicks of the mouse there versus having to go through and type in all those numbers and having our calculator out and making mistakes. And I felt that was a huge, huge time saver. And again, thanks to Jaleisha for inspiring me to do this. So, and now we're just going to kind of go through the report, and I'm going to turn the floor over to Mike. Mike's going to go over the financial review section of the actual report.
Matt,
Yes.
are you going to send written a path also, or just
I
the
had not planned to do so. I was going to send this out on YouTube.
Okay. Yeah.
but I'd be happy to walk you through doing it the first time if you're, but hopefully you find it. You do it one time. If this first time, don't hesitate to give me a call.
Yeah, YouTube's hard to get in the office.
Yeah, I understand that. So the biggest thing to remember is to run that net income operating statement limited service, then export it to Excel, open it up, and then right-click, on that select service, or just like on this spreadsheet, is this box up here. It's always that box. Hit copy, and see how it selects the entire document.